So trying to reset the cam chain tensioner on this first generation of ZX9. Removing the seats, that's obviously a few seconds job. Then you remove those top panels here. That's literally, they're held by literally 3 screws on each side, so we remove those 2. And then you need to remove those 2 screws here that hold the fuel tank to the frame, and then you remove this top screw here that secures the fuel tank at the top here. Obviously the fuel tap must be in an off position. Okay, so now I'm going to be lifting the tank. There's going to be a breather hose here that can stay there, no problem at all. And I think there's going to be a couple more things that you need to disconnect. Alright man, so the tank is lifted and now you've got to disconnect that fuel lever sensor here, and then you've got the actual fuel hose right up there. Alright, so I've disconnected the fuel from the actual filter because it was a pain in the ass to do it here. Alright, so now I'm going to take the airbox off. It's those bolts here. A few seconds and it's all going to be removed. Alright, so I've removed all those bolts. The 2 bolts at the very top are longer. Have a look at that, very long. It's that one here and that one here. And all the other ones around are shorter bolts. So now you simply lift this up, and this is your air filter here, which looks somewhat okay. So after removal of that hose here from that bit there, let's have a look at the top. Here's the airbox. I've removed those screws here holding the airbox to the carbs, and now I think this should just come off easily. There's another hose here, but that's just the breather hose for the airbox. Here at the front, the airbox is connected with those tubes by 2 10mm bolts, so that's both on the left and right hand side. So I've removed all those, and now it should come off. Alright, there's one more hose here at the bottom, which is this one here. Woo! And that all comes off. And there we go, it is all off. And now I think I'm going to have to remove the carbs, not fully removed, just put them to the side, and here we have it. Let me just change the side. Here we have it, there's the tensioner. See this here? That's the tensioner, so it's held here by 2 small bolts. That's the top one, that's the bottom one, and in the middle you've got the main bolt which allows you to disassemble the tensioner. So what I'm going to do, the trick is, they tell me that I need to loosen up the top bolt and the bottom bolt just a bit, which will mean, allegedly, that the tensioner will come out a bit, and that's going to allow the plunger, which is inside the tensioner, to be pushed out further by the spring, meaning, so let's say I'll get just one more click out on this plunger, meaning the chain in the engine will be under a little bit more tension. Hopefully this is going to work, let's see. Okay peeps, so have a look what I'm doing. So in the bottom bolt I've got this Allen key, and luckily those bolts aren't really that tightly secured, so I was able to easily turn them, and the same on the top one. And the same on the top one. They turn fairly easily. And now let me tell you what the deal is with this tensioner. Right, so here I've got another tensioner from the ZX9. This is how it sits in the engine. So that's the trick. So you're removing those 2 bolts, which will get the tensioner out from the engine, meaning the spring will push the plunger further towards the chain. So that's the deal. So as you can see, the top bolt and the bottom bolt have been slightly removed. So that tells me that the plunger actually came out by 1 click, and I reckon 1 click should be just enough to get rid of that stupid rattle. Okay, now I'm going to put those 2 bolts in fully, and I'm going to start the bike to see if the rattle has been minimized at least a bit. Alright, so tensioner is in, reset, and now I'm going to put the carbs on, airbox on, and I'm going to start the bike up, seeing if there's any improvement at all. Alright, so getting the airbox on. Just don't forget that this hose here is going to the bottom of the airbox here, and then you've got two hoses at the bottom of it here, 1 and 2, which you simply feed through next to the frame, and they'll be just resting there.
A few moments later.
I guess it worked.